If you missed everything that happened during today's session, quite a session, we're going to get you caught up right now on the only stocks that you need to know about. It is time for our top 10. Coming in at number 10, it's Green Mountain Coffee, rather, the maker of brewing machines and coffee pods, falling a little more than 8% today. Kroger, the largest U.S. operator of grocery stores, said it will sell its own version of the K-Cups used in the brewers last year, and the company said it will also make pods for other brewers.
I think you said ground market coffee,
but
no, is absolutely right because it is falling back to the ground. I think that was right on the money.
I was thinking coffee grounds.
Yes, of course you were. All right. Garmin, the GPS device maker, now down about 8%, speaking of falling to the ground. Apple unveiling its own Maps application that include turn-by-turn navigation. Pretty cool stuff. Analysts at Oppenheimer say Apple's unveiling of a mapping application may actually have substantial impact on Garmin, as you two probably can also imagine the stock hitting its lowest level since December, Matt. Or I should say Alex, excuse me.
Yes, it's me.
Doesn't
yes, it is.
look like Matt.
No, you're
we look
much
so
better
similar,
looking than Matt.
It's so hard to tell us apart, you know what I mean? So I understand. All right, number 8, State Street up more than 1% today. Goldman Sachs is in talks to sell its hedge fund administration unit to State Street. The unit provides accounting, valuation, and risk management for hedge funds.
All right, and number 7 is Diamond Foods, the maker of kettle chips, falling to a 3-year low, now down more than 8%, almost 7%. Diamond Foods said it won't file its quarterly results on time to meet an extension granted by the NASDAQ. The company's been working to strengthen its balance sheet and get the business back on track ever since February.
And Tenet Healthcare barely moving right now. Citigroup raised U.S. hospital stocks today. They say risk-reward looks favorable over the next 2 to 3 weeks heading into the Supreme Court decision on the healthcare reform law. Citigroup raised Tenet's price target to $6 from $4. I guess that would be a 50% return if they're right, but it's kind of funny when you're talking $4 stocks.
All right, let's go to number 5 here. U.S. Steel, the country's largest producer of the metal, falling 6% today. Dahlman Rose and Company cut estimates for steel, saying they expect continued weakness for the metal. AK Steel also getting hit today. Goldman seeing, quote, no relief in sight for falling steel prices. Ouch. You do not want to hear that on this kind of day.
Okay, and really quickly before we move on to our next stock, I do want to point out the Dow has now dropped to its biggest session lows of the day, off almost 150 points. S&P off 17, NASDAQ off 44. A lot of concerns, obviously, about Europe right now. Don't forget, those Greek elections are coming up this week. Let's get to our number 4 stock of the day. It's Progress Energy, rising to its highest price in more than 31 years, now up 2%. Federal regulators conditionally approved Duke Energy's proposal to acquire the company. The deal would create the largest U.S. electricity utility owner.
And NVIDIA, one of the biggest gainers today in the S&P. Think of it, one of the biggest, and it's up all of about 1.8%. Okay, fair enough, but still, it just tells you how bad this market is today, down 154. Earlier today, getting an upgrade from UBS to a buy. It had been rated at neutral. Apple also announced its MacBook Pro has new NVIDIA graphics chips. And of course, that, Alex, has been the whole story with NVIDIA, the fact they make the chips.
Absolutely, Adam. All right, coming in number 2, Banco Santander. Spain is requesting 100 billion euros to bail out its banks. European officials hope it will be enough following 3 failed attempts over the past 3 years. That amount is nearly 3 times what the IMF deemed necessary for Spanish banks in a report last week.
All righty, you heard the closing bell. It brings us to our number 1 stock of the day, and it is Apple, down about 1%. Lots of news coming out of the Apple Developers Conference earlier this afternoon. Apple's updating its MacBook computers and faster chips and sharper displays to the high-end Pro model. Apple also bumps Google Maps for its own map application with turn-by-turn navigation.